Since 1892, what the first virus named tobacco mosaic was discovered by two scientists to date. There's been several viruses that has been discovered, among which we know the very recent ones to be the Ebola virus and the COVID-19 virus, which we still don't know if exists or has been curbed or curtailed or whatever. As the years passed by, more discoveries were being made, and the more they were noted or discovered, the more dangerous they appeared to be. And as to whether it was created or man-made, or it was as a result of some sort of evolution, we don't know. And if it is the sheer wickedness of people that is actually resulting in the discoveries of these viruses, syndromes, whatever, we still don't know. How true are all of these? I mean, what is your general view on all of these happenings, discoveries, and how dangerous they are? Let me know in the comment section. And amidst all these discoveries of viruses and whatever it is, there was also the discovery of syndromes. And in 1889 thereabouts, there was this popular one called the Gilles de la Tourette, which was discovered. Those who suffered from this disorder wished they were rather insane. So imagine you wished you were insane rather than having a particular syndrome. Then that should be a very serious syndrome. There's one thing that I definitely know though, and this is a syndrome that was discovered over 20,000 years ago and still exists and is potent. So now, in this video, I'm going to tell you what syndrome it is, how it came about, what led to it, the causes, and possible solutions. That's if you come in contact with the syndrome one way or the other. So stick and stay and let's get right into the video. So let's start with what syndrome is it? This syndrome is called the Bathsheba Syndrome. This syndrome basically denotes the ethical failures of successful leaders. So let's come into the story behind this particular syndrome. All right. So there happened to be this king, and he happened to be a very successful, popular king. And I'm sure most of us have heard the story before. But then there was a period in time where there was this war in Israel, and everybody had actually gone to this war except for the king, who decided to go on a vacation. That was, he didn't actually get involved in this war. So one evening, whilst he was taking a stroll, he chanced on this beautiful maiden who was apparently somebody's wife. And he got blown away with the beauty, and so decided to invite this lady over to his chambers. And oh guys, one thing led to the other. Most times I really want to know what this one thing is. If you know, kindly let me know in the comment section. So this one thing led to the other, and at the end of the day, beautiful Bathsheba got pregnant. Somebody's wife got pregnant because King David couldn't take his eyes off of her. And I'm sure most of us are familiar with the story. Yes. So basically, the Bathsheba story is actually something that brings us back to how successful leaders actually fail and what makes them fail. Hey, before you decide to give up on me at this point and be like, oh, so what's she talking about? This whole syndrome thing. What has it gotten to do with David and blah, blah, blah? Before you give up on me, I want you to know one thing. You are a leader. You may not be in any leadership position. You may be the lastborn or firstborn. You may be the least intelligent person in your class or whatever it is, but it doesn't dispute the fact that you are a leader. And so you've got to watch this video to the very end to learn a thing or two, so you don't end up like King David. All right. Now, the very first cause of this Bathsheba syndrome is when you think you are successful and so you get to lose focus. Guys, success is relative, okay? Probably my success would be finishing school, your success would be establishing your business, somebody else's success would be getting married, and it continues. So success is relative. Like I already stated, you are a leader. So if you are this leader and you are successful or you get successful in your endeavors and you lose focus, you lose sight of the main thing you're supposed to be doing, it is easier for this Bathsheba syndrome to overthrow you and to sweep you off your feet. Just like that. And so for the most part, at that point when you think, oh, I've reached there, like Medru, that is when you should also realize that is the beginning of another chapter. And it is up to you to either choose to be successful or lose focus. Okay, so please don't lose focus at any point in time. And once you do, kindly come back to your senses as soon as possible before you destroy everything you've built in years or whatever it is. Yeah. Is it clear? The second cause of this deadly syndrome is when you start thinking you are indestructible. Who on this earth is Rock of Ages? As in, who on this earth and is living on this earth and is still living over 2,000 and 10,000 years ago? No, everybody is destructible. Regardless of who you are not indestructible. So get that at the back of your mind. Because the moment you start thinking of the fact that, oh, I'm a dream, I've gotten there, nobody can do nothing, and all of that, you open room to this Bathsheba syndrome. And it would be so sad to see such a mighty leader like you, fall because of this deadly syndrome, which you could have actually prevented or avoided. For the most part, most success comes with unrestrained control, some sort of manipulative, power, and that kind of diversion and abuse of power. It's very easier to come in contact with this so long as success comes to play. And it can happen to anybody, regardless of your religion, your background, your educational level, your position in the society, or whatever, at any point in time. But then you still have the choice to make. David could have chosen to just look small, like he could have chosen to ignore, but he didn't. He actually went ahead to invite the lady over, went on to have an affair that resulted in a lot of scandal. You still have the choice to make certain decisions that will either affect you positively or negatively. Another cause of this Bathsheba syndrome is when you lose self-control. I know we all have desires, we all have fantasies, we all have cravings, okay? But to what extent? To what extent, especially when a lot of stars are at stake? To what extent are you going to let these desires, cravings, take you to? To what extent are you willing to go to achieve or to just give some sort of pleasure or satisfaction to what you so much desire? That is it. So one pastor, Coca Bay, actually said, every temptation is actually taking you to the next level, depending on the choice you make. Yes, choice comes back to play here. So this was King David, who was encountered with this nice temptation. I don't know if we have nice temptations though, but then This lady was pretty, irresistible, you know. He couldn't have taken his eyes off her like that, just like that, you know. He could have, you know. Yeah. And see where it got him to. Many leaders have fallen, like many rulers, many high people in like people we actually regard in high esteem are disregarded today because of lack of self-control. It may not only be something sexual or sensual, but then it could also be probably in relation to anger, relation to pride, in relation to bribery, corruption. It could be anything at all. Self-control, guys. Now, the last and final cause of this terrible syndrome, the Bathsheba syndrome, is when you choose to be ideal. So basically, everything is based on choice, guys. Everything is based on choice. So King David could have chosen to go to war as usual. At that point in time, he could have chosen to be in his palace, sitting in his parlor, reading some scrolls, or trying to write some psalms, because he wrote most parts of the Bible, Psalms to be precise. But he chose to take a stroll, and that's a sign of being idle. Now, somebody is going to argue that, oh, probably he was tired of doing all of those things, and so he just needed a moment of, you know, rest and needed to chill a bit and stuff like that. Well, see what it got him. And some people too would argue that the lady shouldn't have been, you know, bathing there, probably intentional and all of that. Well, as to whether it was intentional or not, at the end of the day, we're falling. Anytime you find yourself ideal, get yourself doing something, because it's in your state of idealness that you actually invite a lot of temptations, a lot of them. Probably you used to be addicted to something, and then you're trying so hard to, you know, overcome it, and you choose to be idle. Do you think those thoughts will not still come into your head, trying to manipulate you to go out there to do something? They will definitely come. So at every point in time, choose activeness over idealness. Whatever decision or whatever crossroad you come to, whichever decision you want to make, ask yourself, how is it going to affect me? How is it going to affect those around me? How is it going to affect the country as a whole, my future generation? How is it going to affect us all? Because it is not all about you. It's about time people stop being selfish and start thinking about others and what is at risk because of some money they took, guys. And the earlier we drive away this Bathsheba syndrome, the better for us, for it has been around for quite too long, and it's about time we stop it. Now, to whoever has been a victim of this Bathsheba syndrome because you have been in a state of leadership position, or you've been a leader and somehow you found yourself in contact with this syndrome, it is not too late. You can also go back to the drawing board. You can also try to correct your mistakes a day at a time. Decide for yourself that whatever thing has happened in the past, I'm not going to do them again moving forward. And try as much as possible to work towards achieving that. Because it is one thing to say something and it is another thing to do. And wisdom is to do. I'll be glad if you actually share this video with your loved ones and friends, if you actually subscribe to my channel and give this video a thumbs up, as well as leave a comment in the comment section. Let me know your general thoughts about the video. Let me know what you think about the Bathsheba syndrome. Let me know your views and thoughts in general. And until my next video, don't forget to do you, and do you. Bye-bye.